SBC Media.
Welcome to the iGaming Daily Podcast, analysing the news from the betting and gaming industry all over the globe, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market.
Oh my God, we're back again. Brothers, sisters, everybody sing. Or better, listen to this new episode of iGaming Daily. I'm your host for today, Fernando Noodt, Senior Business Journalist for SBC Noticias. And today I will be your guide through this split episode on the latest news from Argentina and Brazil. To cover this first bit, let me just say that, like Britney, she's back stronger than yesterday, and now it is nothing but the Noticias way with Lucia Gando, SBC Noticias editor and better known as the boss. How are you, Lu?
Hello, Fer. I'm happy to join the podcast again.
Yeah, it's been a while since you were last on the iGaming Daily podcast, but now we're finally back, like I said, to discuss Argentina. But before the end of the episode, we will also cover the latest on Brazil with the Noticias Brasil team. But now let's thank Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market and sponsor of iGaming Daily. As a special offer, Optimove are offering new clients a free first month when they buy Optimove. For more information and claim the free month, go to optimove.com/SBC, but we will also leave the links down in the podcast episode description so you can find them more easily. And now let's discuss what we are here for. The iGaming and sports betting industry has certainly been live in most of Argentina for a few years now, but some major changes could be up ahead as a very, very restrictive proposal moves forward in Congress, right, Lu?
Yes, it was very dramatic move for the industry. Authorities of Argentina are trying to ban advertising strategies completely. So we know that Argentina doesn't have a gaming regulation that is applied nationwide. So each market has its own rules, though they are very similar in general, following also the examples of previously regulated markets such as Spain and Colombia. And this point is important as we know that in Spain they experienced an advertising ban in general during the COVID pandemic. So it's kind of similar what would happen in Argentina if this bill is approved. So in the past 2 years at least, several bills were presented to regulate some aspects of the industry at national level. Especially the goal is in controlling the advertising strategies that became very popular among celebrities, athletes, influencers, and other public figures. We know that especially during matches and on social media, we have a lot of advertising for betting sites. So a joint committee of 5 different committees of the House of Representatives has passed the bill with 90 votes out of 148, which could potentially ban advertising in sports, cultural events, media, internet, and social media. Once approved, it would also ban welcome bonuses and welfare debit cards and lines of credit to found accounts in gaming platforms. So the complete bill mixes different initiatives that were already presented by legislators from various political parties, aiming at reducing the marketing strategies for the industry in the regulated markets of the country, and it would be applied at national level. So legislators are currently pushing hard for these regulations to be considered, as there's a general debate we've been mentioning in the past episodes and in SBC Noticias as well, regarding underage internet users participating in online gaming and sports betting platforms. So Argentinian authorities are now warning about a gambling outbreak among the residents, with a special focus on teenagers that are looking for easy ways to earn money, as they say. So with this initiative, all kinds of marketing strategies, advertising in all media platforms, and sponsorships in the sports sector would be completely prohibited. As I mentioned earlier, we already experienced this ban in Spain during from 2020 until 2023. It was later removed by a Supreme Court ruling for considering that the law was harmful for business, free competition, and especially they suggested that it was benefiting the illegal market, as operators without licenses were able to offer further bonuses and promote their platforms with no real consequences, while licensed operators were facing great limitation to develop their business. So let's see what happens in Argentina next with these previous experiences.
Yeah, it's seriously restrictive for the iGaming industry and the sports betting industry in general, because like you said, Lou, it would ban all advertising in for the segment. Like not only advertising on TV, but also the bill mentions internet as internet, like the concept internet. So it's very broad, right? To talk about internet, of course, social media. We have seen, and if you are following or if you are subscribed to our SBC Noticias newsletter, you have read by now that there has been multiple influencers cited by the justice to explain why they are advertising illegal gambling platforms. So there's certainly something to discuss regarding advertising in Argentina, but this bill is an all-out ban, like you said, like you mentioned, the Alberto Garzón decree in Spain that was enforced for a few years and then brought down by a justice ruling. So it is seriously restrictive for the industry and its aspirations. Of course, this scheme of regulation that Argentina has under its constitution that requires each province to regulate the gaming industry instead of being the country to pass a general bill to rule the whole country and enforce a regulatory framework nationwide. This scheme is actually quite unappealing for some operators that decide they rather go to the illegal segment instead of going to these different little markets that each province offers. So that's why it is such a delicate situation right now in Argentina. And this committee that was actually, like you said, a 5-committee group of committees had this two different. They actually issued 2 different what's called dictamen, which is like a suggestion, let's say, for the general floor to discuss in the Chamber of Deputies, which is the one that got 90 votes out of the 148 deputies. That's the majority dictamen, the majority suggestion, which calls for this all-out ban. And then there's the other, the minority voted by the lesser amount of deputies that is a bit more specific or not specific. It bans advertising on media and not it doesn't go against internet and everything. But it was a very heated debate. There were even insults and lawmakers standing face to face to each other, yelling and cursing at each other. So it was a very tense situation. But Lou, what does the bill now need to move forward?
So yes, if the bill moves forward, if it's approved by this committee, the project then can be debated in a special session of the House of Representatives for its final approval. To do so, those responsible will try to get it on the agenda before November 30th, since if they fail to do so, its treatment will be postponed until next year. So we have a first approval by the committee and then by the full House of Representatives.
Yeah, so since we already have the approval by the committee, they just need to put it on agenda, right? And it's insane how long the recess for the Congress in Argentina is. I mean, 3 months on vacation, but there's still some chance for them to discuss it if the executive branch of the government decides to call for an urgency meeting and they're rushing there to get to the Congress. But I think it's highly unlikely they do that, because the decision to have this bill go through 5 committees, to have 148 lawmakers discuss and get together and agree on a suggestion for the chamber, the decision by the government to require them to go through 5 committees actually speaks for itself on the non-willingness of the government to have this bill make progress, even though the 5 committees actually managed to discuss it and managed to actually get it ready for the Chamber of Deputies to now set the agenda for the discussion. So it is unlikely it will eventually get discussed this year. So maybe we'll have to wait until March to see whether this makes any progress. But Argentina has also been on the front page of every world sports media after a streamer lined up and play a professional top-flight football match, Lu.
Oh my God, that was a controversy here, I think in all Latam. So we know that the popular Argentinian streamer Spreen was included in the professional team Deportivo Riestra. The notification of his participation was published a few months ago, but nobody really expected him to actually play. So earlier this month, when the game took place between Riestra and Vélez, the streamer was actually lined up as a starter for the match during week 22 of the Argentinian league. He was only on the pitch for 1 minute after the game started, and he got immediately subbed. And this generated another controversy, as the betting platforms reported a high amount of engagement related to Spreen's presence in the match. So later that day, high-profile athletes questioned the decision of the club of allowing the streamer to take part of a professional match, considering also that this was a first division league game. So the Asociación del Fútbol Argentino, AFA, released later a statement where they assured they are investigating the decision. So not only the football authorities were criticized by this, but also the sport betting operators for allowing bets related to the streamer, like how many minutes he would last in the field, what action would he take, and other stuff. Right now, there's an ongoing investigation on whether there's any fraudulent activity related to the betting on the whole situation. So that's the situation so far.
Okay, thanks, Lu. Now, after this break, we will go with the SBC Noticias Brasil team to discuss the news in Brazil, of course. And if you want to keep up to date with the rest of Latin America and, of course, Brazil as well in Spanish, please subscribe to the sbcnoticias.com/newsletter to subscribe, of course, to the newsletter. We'll be right back.
SBC Leaders connects the gambling industry's top-tier operators and associations to share the best ideas, collaborate on solving the biggest issues, and push innovation throughout the betting and gaming industry. If you're an operator and want to join the discussion, visit sbcleaders.com for more information.
The sun shines and the hot sun meets the sea on the beaches of Rio, where we will meet with the gaming industry next February 25th to the 27th for the great SBC Summit Rio. But now, iGaming Daily is back with those that know the most about the local market. And I am talking, of course, about the SBC Noticias Brasil team that is now here with us today. Business journalist Elisa Marcante, how are you today?
I'm great, actually. Thank you. How are you, Fer?
I'm very good. And, of course, business journalist Ana Maria Menezes. How are you, Aniña?
Hi, Fed. Very excited to be here in this very hot day in Brazil.
Yeah. Probably the guys in the northern hemisphere are envying us for being hot in the south, but we're envying them for being cold up north. But we are, of course, back in Brazil because, as we mentioned in the previous episode we were in, the Supreme Court has backed Minister Luis Fuchs' decision to ban all welfare money like Bolsa Familia from any iGaming activities, Eli.
Exactly. Last week, Fuchs ordered the immediate application of regulatory measures regarding advertising, as previously established in Ordinance number 1231, published this year by the SPA, which prohibits the participation of minors in betting advertisements and the use of elements that appeal to children and adolescents. And, of course, the use of resources from charitable programs in the Brazilian betting market. The goal is to protect more vulnerable groups, such as minors and people who really need this government resource. All the court ministers decide to maintain the Fuchs decision, so the Supreme Federal Court support the minister's decision and ordered the immediate adoption of these protective measures.
Yeah, it was an unanimous decision, right? The
Yes,
whole court,
exactly.
the whole STF backed Minister Fuchs' decision. So that's, of course, going to be enforced. But that is not the only restriction the segment will have in Brazil, because promotion is said to be limited as well, right, Anna?
So any nationwide advertising related to rewards for advances, upfront offers, bonuses or pre-betting advantages, even if labeled as promotions, so such as marketing or advertisements, are prohibited. So on top of that, the ruling also prohibits any advertisement for fixed odds online betting, targeting children and teenagers, such as Elisa already said. And companies have 10 days to submit a transparency report detailing all the steps they've taken to comply with the bans. And if the rules are ignored, there's a daily fine of 50,000 reais. So I actually, the conversion would be $10,000 right now, a bit less actually. And the ruling applies to all active companies listed in the approved registry published by the Ministry of Finance, Prices and Betting Secretariat. We call it ISPA. So it's also worth mentioning that welcome bonuses are already banned under ISPA, Ordinance number 615, which outlines the general rules for online sports betting operators managing financial transactions. So the difference that this ruling was effective starting from January the 1st, and when the regulation takes place, actually, but they rushed to make it officially practically a month before, as it was covered by our editor, Ricardo Cis. So yeah, that's actually a big step, in anticipating a rule that was already meant to be, effective from January on.
I think it's very interesting to see how Brazil and Argentina are pretty much doing the same path or going down the same path.
Yeah.
Even though Brazil is actually enforcing a nationwide regulation because it does not have the same restrictions that Argentina has under its constitution. They do have like the same topics of discussion. They decide like, okay, what's up with welfare money? Now Brazil is going ahead and banning welfare money. And so is this bill we were discussing with Lou on the first half of the episode. Lawmakers are banning that in Argentina as well. And then they're advertising. Now they are going after advertising in Brazil even before I think actually it's quite smart to lay out the rules ahead of the regulation, because if your regulation is already enforced, like it was in Argentina or like it is in Argentina, and then you change the rules in regards with advertising, like they do, that might not be so appealing for the operators that are there, that are licensed and contributing to the state coffers. So it's actually quite smart or quite the right way to do, I think, to go in Brazil. But then there's also the restriction that can be harmful for the company's expectations and goals for the market. So I think it's going to be a hashtag Brazil where I see there, and see how this affects the operations for the iGaming and sports betting companies. But now let's go back to the STF, to the Supreme Court, because one of its members is also pushing a major restriction that could certainly be a game changer in regards with individual sports.
Yes, Flavio Dino argued that sports betting involving only one athlete should be banned to prevent players from making penalties or cards against their own team. So Dino stated that there can be no bets in which the event that results in winnings depends on the will of one person, a single person, because it increases the chances of manipulation. Although he has the support of the senator, George Cajuru, the president of IBJR, André Gelfi, believes that banning bets on the secondary market will only open space for the illegal market to operate. So,
yeah, I think it's very interesting. Yeah, it's very interesting to see them going after individual sports, or individual bets on an individual athlete, because you may say, okay, that may be addressed to team sports and not betting on one individual football player or one individual basketball player and so on and so forth. But if you go straight to individual athletes, you are leaving out the market. Boxing, you're leaving out tennis. It is actually a very unique approach, I think. I'm not sure there's any other market in the world that has a restriction like this, but if they have the backing of lawmakers and even the president, Lula da Silva, I think it's a very interesting thing to. And when I say interesting, I don't mean like it's good. It's just interesting, as in we never seen that before. And we'll have to #wait and see to see what happens in Brazil. But if you want to stay tuned to all that happens in Brazil, you of course need to go right now and subscribe to the newsletter of SBC Noticias Brasil, which is sbcnoticias.com/br, as in Brazil, of course, and subscribe to the newsletter because you will be up to date with all the news in the country, with Ana Maria and Elisa covering alongside with editor Ricardo, that is always Ricardo Assis, who is always up to date with everything in Brazil. Like everyone, subscribe to the newsletter. And girls, if there's nothing more to say, I think we can call this one up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much to all our listeners out there. Please stay tuned to the following iGaming Daily episodes, because we will be covering everything in LATAM, in the rest of the world, of course. And to all of you, thank you for being with us, and goodbye.
Thank you for listening to today's iGaming Daily podcast, supported by Optimove, the #1 CRM marketing solution for the iGaming market. If you want to find out more about some of the subjects raised today, feel free to explore any of the sites in the SBC News Network, or check out the latest edition of the SBC Leaders magazine. Happy reading.